Hello, this is Ryan from Heavyocity. I'm here to walk you through the content in our brand new instrument FORZO, Modern Brass. FORZO is a hard-hitting brass library like no other before it. It contains a vast selection of articulations from trumpets, French horns, tenor and bass trombones, and tubas, ranging from traditional sustains and staccatos to out-of-this-world tonal and atonal effects. It also includes the Brass Designer, a hybrid powerhouse that allows you to load any of the sound sources on up to 3 channels simultaneously. FORZO also includes 432 tempo-synced loops, which can be easily accessed and combined in the Brass Loop Designer. FORZO Modern Brass contains about 16 gigabytes of content available in 3 separate engines. Let's take a look at them. The traditional folder contains the individual instrument presets as well as a full ensemble preset. In each preset, you can load up your desired articulation on any of 8 key switch slots. Once you've got your articulations loaded, you can select them by clicking on them or using the key switches starting on F6. You'll notice each articulation has different controls and displays, which we'll cover in depth in the traditional brass instruments tutorial. There are 4 channels in the mixer where you can control the volume and panning of the 3 different mic positions, as well as a full mix channel, which is purged by default. The mix channel is especially useful on machines with a limited amount of RAM, since it allows you to purge the other 3 channels from memory. The traditional brass instruments interface offers several controls for shaping your sound, including a per-channel EQ and filter, an ADSR volume envelope, a tempo-sync rhythmic gate and dynamic shaper, and a space module with delay and reverb. Each preset includes snapshots for different articulation sets and mix settings. The Evolved folder contains the Brass Designer, a dynamic 3-channel instrument that can be used for creating pads, effects, and rhythmic beds. Each of the 3 channels of the Brass Designer can be loaded with any articulation from any instrument, or with any of the tempo-synced brass loops. There are multiple controls for each channel, including envelope shaping, EQ, filter, a drive module, rhythmic gate, and a space unit for delay and reverb. There's also a set of master effects for additional sound shaping. The Brass Designer includes Heavyocity's signature dynamic playback engine, Cycle. Cycle offers a set of controls that can quickly create rhythmic pulses, swells, stutters, glitch effects, and granular pads. The Brass Designer includes 135 handcrafted snapshots categorized by sound quality. Each uses a unique combination of sound sources and effects to create a variety of pads, impacts, rhythmic beds, and textures. The other preset in the Evolved folder is the Brass Loop Designer, which is populated with 432 tempo-synced brass loops. The 3 channels can be loaded with loops in straight or triplet subdivisions. The loops are organized into banks which indicate the range of instruments, low, mid, and high, as well as the type of loop, rhythmic, motivic, and ambient. All of the banks are also available with reversed versions of the loops. The Designer page allows you to use keys C1 through B1 as selector keys, which trigger 3 loops at once. You can select each bank, which are mapped to separate octaves on the keyboard, and assign specific loops from each bank to a selector key. The Brass Loop Designer includes 36 unique snapshots, which populate the designer with different combinations of the various loop types. Both the Brass Loop Designer and the Brass Designer include the macro control knob, which can be assigned to modulate effects parameters over time. The macro knob is incredibly powerful and versatile. It can be used to add subtle movement to your sound or to drastically transform it. It can also be sequenced to move in rhythmic patterns according to the tempo of your host sequencer. For more information on the different types of presets, please see the dedicated tutorials for the traditional brass instruments, Brass Designer, and Brass Loop Designer. FORZO Modern Brass is now available at Heavyocity.com.